If I see a black person walking around with Trump mugshot, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Charles Barkley basically telling black people if they support Trump, he's going to punch them in the face.
The former president raised a lot of eyebrows with these comments while talking to listen to the audience, a black conservative conference. He said this.
I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts.
That is absolutely true. I know a lot of black people who thought that the Trump mugshot t-shirt was tough. And I know a lot of black people who bought it and wore it. And I also saw a lot of black people saying that that particular event made them want to support him because they had their own experience with being unfairly targeted by the justice system. Everything Trump is saying has some truth to it.
When you heard that, what did you think? Big sigh.
First of all, I'm just going to say this. If I see a black person walking around with Trump mugshot, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Charles.
I know, Gayle.
Charles.
Gayle.
You really can't say that because, A, you don't mean that.
Oh, I mean that sincerely. I'm going to just tell you something.
And then you will be arrested for assault. And then what?
Have you ever heard someone, a prevalent personality, say if they see somebody walking around with a Joe Biden t-shirt, they're going to punch them in the face? I mean, think about this. This is our former president, the front runner for the Republican Party in this upcoming election. And you have a celebrity say, just outright saying that if you basically support him and you're black, so immediately imposing on someone by the color of their skin, the fact that they have to vote a certain way, which of course the Democrat Party always treats black voters as a monolith. And Joe Biden famously said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. This is how they look at it. Now you have Charles Barkley saying, if you wear this Trump t-shirt and you're black, I'm going to punch you in the face. Just think about how ludicrous that is.
I'm going to bail myself out and go celebrate. If I
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. Okay, but go ahead.
Seriously.
Continue.
First of all, if I was at
that conference, yeah.
I'd have got up and walked out. That was an insult to all black people. Because he's basically just saying, and first of all, to compare black history where we've been discriminated against to his plight.
Yes.
Well, first of all, he's a billionaire. And they're prosecuting him for stuff he did wrong. They're prosecuting him for stuff he did wrong. And for him to compare...
It's still in the court system, Charles. We have to wait. It's still in the court system. But continue.
Well,
continue.
Some of the stuff is true. They did storm the Capitol. They did say that the election was stolen. Those aren't lies, Gayle. Those are
They
facts.
did say that. They did say that.
But to compare, I would have got up and walked out because it's not a fair comparison. You know, he's a billionaire. He's had a great life. He's been president of the United States. To insult black people who have been discriminated against all these years, to put them in the same category, I was just offended.
One thing that you'll notice is that Charles is saying that he's basically saying he's like black people because of this. If you go back and look at it, that's not what he said. He said, some people are saying that black people can relate to my experience. And of course, he's talking about being unfairly targeted by the justice system, which, oh, by the way, is in large part because of the crime bill that Joe Biden authored. But nobody wants to talk about that on this CNN show.
I mean, I really
some people question, if he is a billionaire. There's always conversation about that. But I think people thought...
What do you think when you hear it?
Well, I just thought... I thought it was insulting. I thought it was insulting to people of color that to paint the black community with one brush, and you really...
Which is what Democrats do all the time. They say black people don't know how to get ID, so requiring voter ID is racist. They say you're not even black if you vote Democrat. If you happen to be a black conservative, they attack you relentlessly. They say, as they did with Larry Elder, you're the black face of white supremacy. Democrats do this constantly with black people. And again, what Trump was doing was just saying, hey, a lot of people tell me that black people really liked this because they've experienced being targeted by the police unjustly in their eyes. They've experienced being incarcerated unjustly. They've experienced being arrested. That's what he was saying. And everybody was talking about that when it happened, and tons of black people were supporting him because of that fact. That's undeniable. So to say that he's essentially comparing himself to enslaved black people of the past and their plight is just ridiculous. But of course, spin.
Can't compare his indictment. I thought because he says, I know it's so hard to verbalize it, because it made me so angry and I was so insulted by his words. Because he's implying that because black people have criminal problems.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
He said something, but that's what he meant.
I do believe that. I do believe that's exactly what he meant. And then somebody tried to spin it to me and said, no, what he was saying is that he feels sympathetic to black people who have been falsely accused like he. I don't believe that. I do not believe that is what he was saying.
I don't like speaking for all black people, but I'm going to right now.
Yeah.
We don't feel sympathetic to his plight. We do not.
I know a lot of black people who would disagree with you. And in fact, since this went out, there have been a lot of black people on Twitter or X saying exactly that, posting their own pictures of them wearing the Trump mugshot t-shirt. I hate this whole, and I hate it on the white side, the black side, the Asian side, Hispanic side, whatever. I speak for all people who look like me. No, you don't, man. That's at the core of what makes America awesome, is that just because the color of your skin, you don't have to be a certain way. If you are, or if you say what he's saying, you're stereotyping, flat out.
We do. And Gayle,
You don't speak for all black people.
I don't like doing that, but I am in this particular case. We don't feel his plight. But I really just feel bad because we need adults in the room. We got the immigrant problem. We got inflation. We got the situation in Hawaii.
And why do we have all that? Because of the so-called adults that have been in the room for the past several years.
I want to solve real problems. I don't want to talk about all this extracurricular stuff behind the scenes.
But here you are talking about this stuff. Weird how that works, right?
I want somebody to get in there and say, hey, you know what? I want to do what's great for the American people.
But you know what, Charles, while you say you don't speak for all black people, there is a contingent of people that say that the black vote, that Donald Trump is getting more black vote this time than he did last time.
He is.
I know you've heard that.
Well, I think there's a couple reasons. Number one, I don't like using the term black people, poor people. Americans discriminate,
Wait, did he just say black people is synonymous with poor people?
Number one, black people in this category. America discriminates against poor people. Whether you're white or black, if you're poor, you discriminate. All these politicians.
It's more of a class issue, you say.
It's 100% more of a class issue.
Donald Trump always had the poor white vote. He had it the first time around. He had it in 2020. What has changed is he is now getting more of the black vote.
That's what bothers me. But as a guy, I've only voted Republican one time in my life. I voted for John Kasich for president. I have voted Democratic my entire life.
Then you didn't vote Republican.
And I'm starting to question that. That don't mean I'm going to vote Republican. But I'm starting to question, I always vote Democratic because I'm like, it's got a better chance of helping poor people.
That is, of course, factually incorrect. The Democrat Party has been the demise of poor people ever since LBJ and his Great Society Act. You can look at the numbers. I mean, this will often get just said in passing, but if you actually dig in on, okay, when Democrats are in control, how do poor people do? Well, let's just look at a lot of the cities where Democrats have been in control forever. How are the poor people doing there? How's the homeless problem? How's the drug addiction problem? How is the education? How are the test scores? How is the success of black people in those cities? Let's look at Baltimore. Let's look at Los Angeles. Let's look at New York City. Let's look at Chicago. Let's look at how many black people are dying due to crime in those cities. They've been controlled by Democrats forever.
The one thing I know about poor people, they're always poor. And the Democratic Party, us as black people, we voted for them. First of all, actually, black people used to be Republicans until the Civil Rights Act back in the day. Most people don't even know that.
Yeah.
But we both pretty much been Democratic for the last X amount of years. But we never hold them accountable. And they only come around every 4 years and say, vote for us.
Yeah.
They take all our votes for granted. That's why black people are leaving the Democratic Party. That's not meaning they're going to the Republican Party. They're becoming disinterested. They're like, I'm not going to vote.
A lot of them are going to the Republican Party, though, because a lot of them realize how different their life was under Donald Trump. What he's saying here about black people and realizing the Democrat Party does not care about them, has done nothing to help them, has in fact hurt them in a huge way ever since LBJ. I agree with all of that. But yeah, a lot of them do support Donald Trump because they can remember 2016 to 2020. They can remember the First Step Act. They can remember what he did for HBCUs. They can remember the fact that they had the lowest unemployment rate in ages. They can remember all that stuff. Part of this I agree with. Part, it's like, he's almost there. Just say it, man. But he's so against Trump just for being Trump that he won't say that.
When Donald Trump says that, black people can relate to them, or he relates to black people because, been falsely accused or arrested. Have you ever been arrested?
A few times.
A few.
And you know what? I'm not proud of that fact because I was wrong.
For what?
For fighting. When I was
Oh, the guy who said he's going to punch any black person who supports Donald Trump in the face got arrested for fighting? That's shocking.
young, I was stupid. I got to fighting a lot because instead of walking away like an adult, I was a stupid kid. Mm-hmm. And, and kids, I tell kids today, man, walk away.
Yeah.
Let them call you names. Fighting
But
song.
you didn't do that.
Because I was young and stupid.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I'm like, hey, if people say something to you, walk away. Mm-hmm. I was young and dumb
Walk away unless they're wearing a Trump mugshot t-shirt and they're black. Then you punch them in the face.
and stupid. And I was like, hey, you know what? If you challenge me, I'm going to fight you. If you say something to me, I have to fight you. But now I'm a grown man. If you say something to me like, hey, you don't like me, I get it. I walk the other direction.
Yeah, but if you see somebody, a black person with a Donald Trump,
I'm going to punch him right in the
punch
eye.
him in the face.
Gayle, I promise you.
I would bail you out. I would bail you out.
You're not going to be my first call.
Okay. That's good. Well,
All right, there you have it. Charles Barkley, who honestly, I've respected some of his takes in the past. I've found him to be pretty up the middle, pretty outspoken sometimes in terms of like what he just said about the Democrat Party. I mean, that's bang on. But this hatred towards Trump, I think, is clouding his judgment as far as what actually a lot of black people have already realized that, yeah, life was way better when he was president, and they're going to vote for him. And they don't care that he said, a lot of people are saying that black people can relate to me because of my mugshot. Well, that's a factual statement. A lot of people are saying that, and a lot of those people are black. There have been prominent black figures who have said when that mugshot came out that that's what makes them support him, because they, again, can relate to being treated unfairly by the justice system. It's as simple as that. I don't truly know what is offensive about what Donald Trump said, other than the fact that he made somewhat of a generalization. But again, generalizations get made on both sides constantly. I mean, they were generalizing about black people constantly in this conversation. Joe Biden, again, I mean, my God, he's like the king of racist one-liners. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Racial jungle. They want to put y'all back in chains. You can't go in a 7-Eleven or own a 7-Eleven in Delaware unless you're Indian. I mean, just on and on and on and on. It's a double standard. It's the trope, right? Trump is racist, Trump is racist, Trump is racist. But when you try to actually dig in, get granular, and break it down, I mean, I don't see the evidence for him being racist. Please feel free to comment why you think what he said was racist. The way I saw it was a factual statement. A lot of black people came out in support of him when that happened. And a lot of black people have Trump mugshot t-shirts and wear them. And all you got to do is go to Twitter to see that. A lot of people are posting saying, hey, Charles, here's my t-shirt. What are you going to do? You going to punch me in the face? I just think it's wrong to generalize about people based on the color of their skin in general and say they're not allowed to have this political belief and they deserve violence for it. I just think that that's nuts. Let me know what you guys think. And please subscribe to the channel.